My name is Tarmack, and this is your game industry news wrap-up for the week of February 25th, 2017. Valve put up a blog post announcing Steam Audio, which, unlike the encroaching Amazon competition onto Valve's territory, has nothing to do with distributing music. Steam Audio is a spatial audio solution for games and VR. The audio solution was announced in usual Valve surprise fashion, and they're giving it away, those charitable scamps. The most interesting thing about this particular announcement is that it comes at a time when genuine spatial audio has in large part been forgotten. The last true 3D audio solution went by the name of Ariel, whose company was sued by Creative, the folks that make sound cards nobody needs or buys nowadays. Ariel won that lawsuit, but it was so expensive and scared off investors that they went bankrupt. So now, your favorite developers can have 1990s 3D audio again. In Nintendo news, because you can't escape it even if you want to, we have a few more items in the long line of aspects of the Switch that feel, shall we say, rushed. Amazon has had to cancel a rather significant number of Zelda Master Edition pre-orders after being informed that they weren't getting as many copies from Nintendo as they thought, less than 2,000 copies for the largest digital retailer in the world. The Switch will also not have the Virtual Console at launch, with no future date yet revealed. Good thing they're not charging for the non-existent online services yet. And last, it turns out that the Joy-Con controllers have the same sync issue that Wiimotes had, where they would lose connection to the console due to things in between you and the machine. My cheap-ass Bluetooth earbuds only lose connection to my phone if there's a concrete wall between us, not just a hand, as it turns out is enough to make the Joy-Con start to get a bit spotty. It seems like the kind of issue that might present itself in product testing. This is going to get a bit snarky. I understand that Nintendo is stepping into unknown territory with the Switch, but this has gotten to ludicrous levels. No Virtual Console, no browser, which means no internet at Starbucks or other out-and-about Wi-Fi, which you need a browser to authenticate, no video streaming apps, only one game anyone cares about, tiny storage size not big enough to hold the one game coming out anybody cares about, low battery life, sync issues on the controller, and we haven't yet seen what other launch issues the hardware itself will have. This is a major hardware developer, folks. It is pathetic. In Nebraska, the government currently has a bill tabled designed to remove the restrictions on who is permitted to repair electronic hardware. In case you're not aware, many of the repair shops you see out in the wild aren't exactly legit for things like iPhones and other consumer hardware. We've even seen the farming world turned on its head when John Deere introduced DRM into their tractors to try to prevent home repair, forcing people into a licensed dealer to get their equipment fixed. This kind of repair service happens by way of a heavy license fee paid by the official licensed repair shop to the manufacturer in exchange for the right to call yourself official, and in many cases buy the tools needed to do the repair. So we have a bill in Nebraska, and actually a bunch of other states, that threatens their ability to do this, saying effectively that the consumer should have the right to repair their own equipment. And the Electronic Software Association is petitioning against it because the ESA represents companies like Microsoft, Nintendo, Electronic Arts, and others, the manufacturers and developer interests, not gamer interests. Not to be confused with the EFF, or Electronic Frontier Foundation, which is the one that's on our side. Mass Effect Andromeda has gone gold. BioWare announced the release to manufacturers, which for those unaware is what going gold means. Andromeda is slated to release on March 21st for PC and consoles. The system specs on PC have also been posted on the Origin site to give you an idea of the kind of hardware needed to run the game. Minimum requirement is an Intel i5-3570 or AMD FX 6350 CPU, 8GB of RAM, and an NVIDIA GTX 660 or AMD Radeon 7850 graphics card. The install size is 55GB. I'm sure it'll totally come to the Switch in about 10 years, but you'll need your own micro SD card to install it. Gamestop is making some changes to the controversial Circle of Life sales program, according to some store managers who spoke to Kotaku. The Circle of Life program is a scoring method which scored individual employees on their sales of pre-owned games, trade-ins, pre-orders, and rewards cards, with sales of new games counting against the employee. They're adding new game sales as a new metric and only counting the Circle of Life score on the store level rather than the employee level now. So this way, GameStop Corporate won't be the bad guy anymore. Now it'll be the store manager whose bonus is on the line berating their employees for not selling enough used product. ZeniMax has filed for an injunction against Oculus as expected under the accusation of stealing code. The previous lawsuit for NDA breach ruled that no industry trade secrets were stolen, but did rule that Oculus had infringed on some of ZeniMax's copyrighted code. The Injunction filing is to stop Oculus from using the code created by ZeniMax, which sounds like a pretty reasonable ask, until you realize that this code is already embedded within a bunch of the games and experiences available on the Rift and the Samsung Gear VR. An injunction essentially stops the sale until such time as an agreement or future case is settled, so depending on how this goes, I think we'll simply see Oculus settle out of court for another big chunk of money. It is likely impractical to write new code and have everyone replace it in their products, especially on a short timeline with the threat of a court looming overhead. That said, ZeniMax, you predatory bastards, if you wanted in on VR, you should have decided to be in on VR, not sit back knowing all of this, waiting for Oculus to get acquired, and then pouncing on the fattened up pig. This may be your legal right, but Jesus, are you ever despicable for handling it this way. And finally, last week, after a year of making gamers shake their heads and fists in anger, the saga of digital homicide is over. James Romine, one of the two brothers who ran the most infamous asset-flipping development houses on Steam, had previously filed a lawsuit for defamation, among other things, against game industry pundit Jim Sterling for his video on their game The Slaughtering Grounds, a travesty of bad taste. Unfortunately for the Romine brothers, they were unable to secure legal representation, a likely outcome when you don't have a case. The case has been dismissed with prejudice, which means that the plaintiff is barred from filing another for the same claimed purpose. A solid win for Jim Sterling, and a reminder that while criticism of a product can offend and harm an individual or business, it is not illegal or worth suing over defamation. And since the Romine Brothers company was wiped off the face of the earth, needing to be renamed and start all over, you could say that Jim Sterling killed them. Or committed digital homicide. This has been your Game Industry News Wrap-Up for the week of February 25th, 2017. Swing by Discord so you can tell me how much you hate that I'm not happy with the Nintendo Switch. My name is Tarmack. Thanks for watching.